Yes, man. So high.
God created wonderful creations, and the most noble of those creations is the human being. God takes pride in that creation when He says, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. We created the human being in the best possible mold. All of God's creation is in complete submission to Him. The skies and the earth and everything in between is absolutely at the disposal of God and doesn't disobey Him. The greatest of His creations was offered choice. The human being was offered choice. And the choice was either to submit before God like the rest of all creation does, or to go his or her own way. When a human being decides that they are going to learn from God, the rest of God's creation, that by definition submits to His commandments all the time, by their very existence, when they decide that they're going to follow suit, knowing and while having the choice to rebel, they've given themselves up in submission, then they've accepted Islam. Islam is the act of submitting yourself before God. Now, all other creation, it follows God's commandments. The sun knows what position it should move in. The earth knows how it should rotate. The electrons know how to go around the nucleus. Everything has what God told it to do, and it does it. The human being doesn't. The human being has some idea what he should do, she should do, but they don't have a complete idea. So God told the first human being, in order for you to completely submit to me, this is the story of Adam now, فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى. If and when guidance comes to you from me, whoever follows it, they'll have no dangers on them, and they're not going to be the ones that grieve. God sent messengers time and time again, prophets, to let people know how to submit to Him, because they themselves can only know so much. So to know what exactly God expects from them as His subjects, prophets would come and declare His teachings, His expectations. What should you believe about Him? And how should you submit to Him? And because that idea of wanting to submit to Him was already created inside of us when our souls were made, there was something inside the human being that already had Islam in it. So when they heard the confirmation of what they have deep down inside coming from the mouth of a prophet, there was like a light inside that met the light on the outside. The revelation on the outside that they hear from a prophet is light. The conscience inside of them that knows God already is another light. These two lights come into contact and Islam happens. This concept in the Quran is called light upon light. Nurun ala nur. Two lights. One inside of you, one outside of you. They come into contact with each other, right? Now, every prophet tried to connect people's inner light with the light of revelation. That's what every prophet tried to do. And the final of those prophets is Muhammad, may peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. The word Islam itself means the act of giving yourself up. It also means the act of giving peace. Aslama also means to offer peace. In other words, you are now offering peace to all of your surroundings. Literally to offer peace. Right? Because now that you've submitted yourself to God, and all of creation already has, now you're in harmony with everything else. You're at peace with everything else. The only reason corruption will happen is when everything else is in submission to God and the human being isn't. That's when corruption happens. That's the very definition of chaos. Right? So Islam is a means by which peace is attained. Harmony is attained inside a person, within their family, within a community, within the world. It starts at the individual level, and you're finally at peace with yourself. Someone who's living a life of rebellion, living a life of partying and think they're going to live, eat, sleep, party in this world and eventually go, you'll find this one thing they don't have peace. They can't sit still. They're always dissatisfied. And when someone finds Islam, Allah gives them the one thing they will never find in any amount of money, any amount of luxury, any amount of entertainment, any amount of self-indulgence or pleasure. They won't find satisfaction anywhere else, tranquility anywhere else except for Islam. That's why you find the people that have the most money and people want to be like them, be they musicians, actors, whoever. People make it big and they can basically have any pleasure they want, drowning themselves in drugs so they don't have to deal with reality because they can't find peace in reality. They can't find it. They're trying to escape These are people that have the best of the best of the best and can't live with it. They're not satisfied. Islam offers them that peace. You know. So now I'll conclude this with, what Islam is, with a statement from God Himself. He says, قَدْ جَاءَتْكُمْ مَوْعِظَةٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. A heart-penetrating counsel has come to you from your Master. Really interesting word, maw'idha in Arabic. It's very powerful, it goes inside the heart. Has come to you from your Master. وَشِفَاءٌ لِمَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. And what has come to you is a cure for what is in the chests. I want you to think about this. God specifically mentions the problem is where? In the chests. People's hearts are unsatisfied. Advice in Arabic literature, maw'idha, deep advice, is not somewhere that goes in the mind, it goes in the heart. If I'm talking to a student, or I'm talking to a family member, a cousin, and I try to give them really heartfelt advice, they say, man, you got me here. You got me right here. You feel something. God says, I've given you words that are supposed to go right where the problem is. Medicine is applied where the problem is, right? Right? So if the problem is in the heart, God says God gave heart-penetrating counsel. Now once the medicine goes in, what is it supposed to do? Start healing. So the very next phrase is, وَشِفَاءٌ لِمَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. It's a cure for what's inside the chest. Whether you're afflicted with jealousy, or rage, or sadness, or disappointment, or fear, or greed, or lust, or whatever your problem is inside, it starts getting cured. You're at peace with yourself and others because you're at peace with God now. وَشِفَاءٌ لِمَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. And then وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةٌ. After this cure, now it's guidance. Here's all the things that were messing up my life. I was heading in the wrong direction. Now it is ready. This book is going to give me the right direction. وَهُدًى وَبُشْرَى. And then congratulations لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ, to those who truly believe. What is this saying? First, take the heart. Let the advice penetrate your heart. Allow it to cure you. Once it cures you, you'll see the way to follow. Once you see that way to follow, congratulations, you've attained the best thing you could have possibly attained, both for this world and the next. You'll live a happy life here, and you'll live a happy life in the hereafter. People think when they follow religion, they'll miss out on life, right? God promised the Israelites. People think we hate the Israelites. God promised the Israelites amazing things. Allah mentions them in the Quran. He says, had they only followed what Allah told them, God had told them, لَأَكَلُوا مِنْ فَوْقِهِمْ وَمِنْ تَحْتِ أَرْجُلِهِمْ. They would have enjoyed, eaten, consumed from above them and beneath them. God would have made them rich. God would have made, if they only followed what they were commanded. So what is God saying? What is Allah saying? If guidance is in your heart, then the world can be in your hands, and you'll be fine. And when guidance is not in your heart, then the world and its temptations are in your heart, and nothing is in your hands. You have nothing in your hands. You can have the world in your hands, just have guidance in your heart. So I pray for myself and all of us that we find true Islam, true submission to God. Thank you very much for listening and watching.